Well, everybody's on mute except me.
As it said.
Good morning, all.
Good morning, everybody.
There's Barney.
I've never had to put people in the waiting room before. I don't know what happened. It's the same meeting we've always, this is weird.
Why is it weird?
Because it's asking me to admit people, it's putting you in the waiting room first.
Oh, okay.
This is the same link we've always had. I don't know why it's doing that.
We're still in the twilight zone.
That must be. We're in the twilight zone. Morning, John. Thanks for joining us.
You bet, Barbara. Good morning. How are you?
Good.
John is our new district.
Hey, Bill Lawson. How are you?
Okay, John, I tried to warn him about you, but nobody was.
Hey, John,
Well, it should have been
where
a
are
double
you?
warning this early in the morning for me.
Hey, John, where are you?
I'm in my office in Tulsa.
Okay,
No, I'm not in Branson. Is that what you're asking?
yeah.
Yeah, no.
Are you still an assistant governor?
I think, yes, I am.
Oh, boy.
He is our assistant governor. Or we are his, I'll put it that way.
Oh, no, he belongs to us. That's good. At least a 10th or 12th of him or something does.
Yeah, about 11th, right?
Right.
Hey, John,
Yes,
did you see the post yesterday about Cole
yes,
being named the district administrator?
yes. That's great.
That is
We're so
great.
thrilled.
She is so excited.
She's never been on camera before.
It's great for her. I don't know how great it is for us, but we'll work on it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
They had a lot of interest in the position, so. it was-
Really?
Yeah, they did.
Well, but,
She's so enthusiastic. She'll do a fabulous job.
oh, she will. She'll be really good. It'll be good for everybody in the district, but, you know,
Yes.
it creates a problem for her with leadership positions in our club.
True.
But it's okay. She'll do well, and she'll still be happy to be with us, I think.
Well, it's nice to see that she's an active Rotarian and former Rotaractor, so she'll have a great experience to come into that position.
Yeah.
And she's a gung-ho person.
Yeah.
She has the energy of a Rotarian and Rotaractor that replicates about 5 of us.
That's because we're 5 times as old as she is.
Well, plus having a job, working all the time, and a kid, and you know, other responsibilities.
You know where the key is for the gate? Please.
Hey, I'm on a call. Hang on. Excuse me, work calls for a second.
Barbara, is Tim on yet?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay, Laura, you had a message on there. Let me see what it says. You're not getting the newsletter yet. Oh, that's probably because you're not on the list. You're official, but Kit can go ahead and add you to that. I'll send him a note.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. I love that y'all are reading the newsletter and trying to find the error.
Yeah, it does make everybody read it.
It's kind of hard to find the error, Laura, if you don't get the newsletter. So we'll make sure you get that. And I'll announce the
gift.
error once we start the meeting.
Gifty, it's nice to see your face this morning. Usually you're just on the phone.
Morning,
Hi,
Gift. You're
Tamara.
on mute.
Good morning.
Hi, everyone.
Good to see you. Hi, Tamara. Oh, Tim's on. This is making me admit people. We've never had to do that before, so I don't understand. But
Yeah, I got that message and thought you might not let me in.
Zoom had some updates, Barbara. That's what happened. All the meetings I've been on this week, they have to do that.
really, okay,
Mhm.
that's probably a security thing.
I wonder if you reschedule it, Barbara, maybe it'll take that away.
Yeah, I'll try and do that.
Yeah, one solution that I've heard is that people are rescheduling it and then putting a password so everybody knows the password to enter.
Yeah, and I didn't put a password on this, so
I think Zoom is putting everybody in a waiting room, making you as the host allow us to come into the meeting.
okay. Well, that means I have to pay attention. I
And
don't
it
want
means you
people,
can't be late.
I don't want people sitting out there not being able to get in.
Head floating in space.
And our sergeant at arms is in the waiting room. And Joanne.
That clock gonna chime exactly at 7 o'clock, the one
It
behind you?
will, and then we'll start the meeting. I have one clock chiming in
While
another
you're
room
letting
right
people
now,
in.
but it's not official until the clock behind me chimes because it's so loud. We've got multiple clocks in the house and they all chime. And this one's so loud I can't talk over it, so here it goes. Okay, we'll start. I've got 3 more people to admit. And then I'll share my screen and we'll let our Rotarian of the day go. There we go. Bill Lawson, you are Rotarian of the day, so take it away. You're on mute. There you go.
Thank you, Barbara. At any rate, as you all know, it's my tradition anyway to take this as a few seconds of silence for those that stand on the wall and those that stand on the line. So if you give me a few moments of silence, please. Thank you very much. I'm so glad that our birdies wanted to chirp this morning. I think that's a great thing. At any rate, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Back to you, Barbara.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, Miss Megan Korn, you are Sergeant at Arms. Take it away.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Well, it's Wednesday morning. Everybody up and at 'em. So anybody have actually, do we have any guests today? I'm looking around.
John Raines is a guest. He's our new AG for our club.
Oh, okay. Where is he?
He might be on the second screen. I can't tell.
Okay.
And you have a guest. I think Laura's here today.
And Laura's here today. Yes, welcome back, Laura. We're so glad you're with us. That you've applied for membership. Awesome. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Are there any anniversaries or birthdays? Nobody's? I know so many September birthdays right now. Nobody? All right. Anniversaries? No? No one? Going twice? Okay. So any happy bucks? There's got to be lots of happiness, right?
I'll do a happy buck.
All right.
As soon as I hang it from the call, I'm heading to Colorado for 5 to 6 days.
Yes. So nice. I bet it'll be beautiful.
Yeah, the leaves are turning.
I have a happy buck.
All right, Joy.
Our niece called us the other day, 2 days ago, and she said, wanted him to be sure that I could hear, so put it on speakerphone and said that she has one son that's 2 years old and she's expecting twins. I know. I'm not knocking it out of the park like the Welty family, but but anyway, her sister also had twins for the second delivery, and so anyway, it's almost like we're having deja vu. So.
Wow.
Joy, you want to show off your scar? That's your shoulder.
Oh, well, I mean, there it is, big and bold.
Hey.
So,
doing well?
the doctor went to my post-op and everything looked fine, and he said I could get in the pool and do water aerobics kind of stuff, but no push-ups for a while.
Okay, good. Glad to hear it.
Thanks.
Megan, I have a happy buck.
All right, Tamara, go ahead.
I think everybody probably saw, but Cole is our new district administrator, and that is a huge blessing to our district. So we should be extremely thankful for that. So just happy buck for that.
Yes, I saw that on Facebook yesterday. I was so excited to see that. Congratulations. Is Cole here? Does it say congratulations? Cool. All right, Carolyn, I see you waving.
I have a happy buck, and I was going to congratulate Cole on her new position. Thrilled to see that. And then also I wanted to tell everybody that I am in New Mexico again, and it's absolutely beautiful here. The leaves are yellow. It's dark outside now, but they're just beautiful, and I'm really enjoying that.
Any bears?
Haven't seen any bears, but I've been trying to go in the areas. I haven't been that high yet. I'm about 8,600 feet.
Okay. Oh, wow. We'll have a great time. That's awesome. Okay, yes. Barney, I see you waving.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
As a graduate of Kansas State University.
Oh,
No,
oh,
don't go there.
I want all the OSU fans to thank me for knocking OU out of the championship, probably.
It ain't over till it's over.
I will see. Well, that one is over.
I'll do one too.
Okay, Ellie.
Okay, I'll do one too. One, because the Chicago Bears are 3-0, even though it's completely undeserved. And also because I saw Megan Korn in traffic and I didn't recognize her because she was out of her natural element. We were both at a traffic light and it took me about 30 seconds to go, I know her.
I was like, hello.
Megan's dancing and doing everything else and I just couldn't get it together, so.
That was fun. I think I surprised you.
You did, completely.
All right.
I've got another one.
Okay, Carolyn.
I was at the Jeep dealer talking to them about getting a new Jeep. Haven't decided yet, but I'm standing there talking to the salesperson, and in walks this man with another salesperson. And sure enough, it was Jim Blackburn. I said, Jim? And he didn't recognize me at first because I had sunglasses on and my mask. He had a mask on and his regular glasses, but I did recognize him, and I was thrilled that I did, and he looked wonderful.
Good. All right. Stan, I see you waving over there.
Yeah. Hey, I just was in Colorado and New Mexico. They're both beautiful this time of the year. But kind of sad, kind of an update on Don Walker. Jane Doss, a former Sunriser, was in town and went out to see him, and he's allowed a visitor, only one visitor for 30 minutes once a week. And so she has no idea how he is or what he's doing or his mentation at the present time. But he's still with us and out in the Broken Arrow assisted living facility.
Thank you for sharing that progress report on Don.
Yes. All right.
Hey, I'd like to just say that I have been thinking about Jack Freeze, and I see him there. So hi, Jack. Jack, it's good to see your image. You're sort of Alfred Hitchcockian right now with the dark background.
Yeah, it looked like an E.A. Poe series that reminds me of. He's in a cave.
Yes, right.
Good. Okay. All right. Anybody else? I'm looking on the screen of anybody else. Okay. Oh, Martha, you got something I can see. You're waving. Did you? Oh, you're on mute.
There we go. Okay. My happy buck is that the census is going on for another month because we still have more census to do. So that's more money in my pocket. And the other happy buck is that yesterday I was supposed to go to a house, and we have these things where we have explanation points, red explanation points if they're a danger house. And so you're supposed to go up with caution. And the danger was that there were all these dogs that were roaming around that could attack you. And so I drove up to the house and I didn't see any dogs. And I looked around the neighborhood around me and I didn't see any dogs. And so I thought, okay, I will go and I'll get into the fence and go up, and discovered that the dogs were actually in the backyard. Apparently somebody had put them in the backyard, which was really, really nice because that way they couldn't attack me. The dogs were home. And so I had to go to a neighbor to talk to them, and trying to go to a neighbor and ask them about the person next door. People don't talk about each other anymore. And in the conversation, he brought up the fact that there were dogs in the neighborhood. And he said, notice there's a pit bull that they just let out across the street that is roaming around. And he says, let me walk you to your car. And he walked, it's a little old man, and he walked me to my car so that I could be safe from the dogs. And I just thought, you know, it's really cool to see once in a while people being kind and being, you know, just thoughtful. And I mean, the dogs could have attacked him too, but he got me to my car, and so I could get in safely, and then went back into his house. And that just made me feel like, you know, the world isn't so bad. There's a lot of good people out there. So I just wanted to share that.
I love your census stories. They've really been good.
I meet a lot of nice people.
It's good to hear good stories. Awesome. Okay. Any more happy bucks? Looking. Oh, Stan says something. Yes. Go ahead, Stan.
Recent Rotarian had a couple interesting articles: volunteerism and the benefits, and peace through projects. And I thought internationally that was appropriate. Well, locally too, since Martha had mentioned that, but locally too. The little old man wasn't me, was it, Martha?
All right. Okay. Are we ready for the joke of the day? I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to refrain from politics because last night was a little crazy. Hope. So we're just going to go with engineering since that is what today is about. Our speaker is an engineer. So this is in honor of engineers. A mathematician, a physicist, and an engineer are all given identical rubber balls and told to find the volume. They are given anything they want to measure it and have all the time they need. The mathematician pulls out a measuring tape and records the circumference. He then divides by 2 times pi to get the radius, cubes that, multiplies by pi again, then multiplies by 4/3, and thereby calculates the volume. The physicist gets a bucket of water, places 1.00000 gallons of water in the bucket, drops in the ball, and measures the displacement to 6 significant figures. And the engineer, that's what he does. He writes down the serial number of the ball and looks it up.
That's an engineer.
So, on to our speaker.
Thank you, Megan. Appreciate it. Okay. Tim, our past president, went out this week, I guess yesterday maybe, and delivered the rest of his thank yous to his board from the past year. So he sent me some pictures last night and asked that I share them with you. So we've got the Orrs, and we have Kay, and we have VJ, and I think that's Kit over there. I can't really tell, but I'm pretty sure that's Kit. So thanks again to all of you. And Tim, thanks for sending the pictures to me.
Thank you.
And another thank you, Tim. This is a Rotary citation that was awarded to Sunrise for the 2019-2020 year, of which Tim was our president and his board, but it's all the club. All the club shares in that. So that was really exciting to see that come across. Okay, is Cole on? Cole, are you on? She had hoped she'd be able to be on this morning. She is in charge of our dictionary project this year, and she has sent out the request to the board, which has been approved, and it will now go to the foundation for approval. She's working with the Jinx School, with the Jinx Club, and the Jinx Club is going to work with us together on doing the labeling, but I think they're paying for their own dictionaries. But Cole is working out with the schools. She has a list of schools that she's, some new schools on the list in addition to Jinx, which we've always helped, and KIP. So we'll try and get her on next week. I'm sure she's probably buried this week, getting things done with her new job. Again, Tulsa Hills Youth Ranch, Bill, if there are not any changes, then we'll consider October 10th. As long as we're still not meeting in person, this is a great way to connect with other Rotarians and get outdoors and do some stuff and see each other. So I hope you all can take advantage of that.
Yep, we're still good for October 10th. I was just texting VJ. They've got some trees that need to be trimmed, and VJ's going to bring a bucket lift out. So if anybody has any pole saws or anything along that line that you'd use to trim some low branches, please bring them.
Great, thank you.
And you don't have to sign up, just come on out.
Good, and distance yourself. Thank you. Again, Lindsay House, they still need school supplies for the kids there. We're still looking for money to get our shipment over to Cameroon. And last week, the error in the fundraiser, Barney found it. So Barney, the card's in the mail. So this week I will announce the winner. The first person to find the mistake was Bill Lawson, because Steve Kerr put in the Sunriser that Bill was in the desert storm, not the desert storm. So, and Bill found that error. So Bill wins this week's $5 Starbucks card, and it will be in the mail, Bill, promise. Okay, Mike Bibby, let me pass it to you. Let me let you share.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes. And
And
you
you
can
got
share if you want to put the screen up.
Okay, well, first we got to draw. We've got 11 tickets in the pot this day.
And I'm drawing a ticket now.
Better not be me.
And who is that? It says Ortega. Linda, are you on? Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, you got to be here.
Got to be present to win. So
Let me see if
mix them up a little more and pull out Ellie Tonquist.
Hey, hey.
So Ellie, let me share screen. There it is. And uh-oh.
What's he doing?
Well,
Can you get it on there?
well, I can't find it now at the moment. Just give me a second.
Okay.
Oh,
No
here we
rush.
go. Okay. Share screen and whoops. All right, I'll get this down one of these days. There it is. Okay, there are the tickets that are available, Ellie. Which number would you choose? I see a 6, or is that a 7?
7.
Okay.
7, please.
All right. I don't know if anybody can see this. Oh, I got to unshare the screen. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the 7 is, what is that? Queen of Hearts?
Queen of Hearts.
Oh.
That's a good one.
Well, better luck next week.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mike. And before we go to our speaker, I saw in the paper, I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but it said the headline was Tulsa cases show progress. But when I updated this morning from yesterday's numbers, I don't know where that progress is because we're still staying pretty steady as far as deaths and our average, and our numbers are going up still. So I don't know. All I have to say right now, we'll see how that goes in the next week or so. But since we can't meet in person right now, please feel free to let me know and come to the board meeting if you'd like to just have some fellowship. Come to our happy hour or happy half hour that we have right before the board meeting. And let's get out and get involved in the community doing some things so that we can at least have some fellowship with each other. So that being said, Bill Lawson, Rotarian of the Day, would you like to introduce yourself and our speaker today?
Thank you very much, Barbara. Well, I'm Bill Lawson, as some of you probably know, and I joined Rotary in 1992. I was a charter member just squeezing in the newly formed Morgantown North Rotary Club in West Virginia. And 3 years later, I found myself as president. But at any rate, but it turns out that the first Rotary meeting I attended, I was in the 8th grade, I think, and I was with 7 other kids and our dance instructor, and we gave a ballroom dance exhibition to the Rotary Club of Montgomery, West Virginia, and my grandfather was a member of that club. That's my mother's father. It turns out that before that, both my great-grandfather, that is my mother's mother's mother, father, sorry, and my dad's father were members of that club. And I found it in an old safe that was eventually cracked open by a very enterprising cousin that I have. I didn't know he had that kind of skill. But at any rate, I have a small card. You can almost fold it up and carry it in your wallet, not quite, but it was the roster of the Morgantown, West Virginia Rotary Club in 1925. And so both my great-grandfather on one side and grandfather on another side were members of that club. But then after that, it skipped a generation. And as far as I know, I'm the only one of my cousins or siblings that's a member of Rotary. But at any rate, I actually have some Rotary history. So that's something about me that I don't think most of you know, and maybe none of you knew. But let me introduce our speaker, and that's Professor John Henshaw. He's the chair of the University of Tulsa's Mechanical Engineering Department. It's one of TU's largest and most prolific engineering and natural sciences departments. So he's been there a lot longer than I have. I don't know when he started. Maybe John will enlighten us about that. He and his wife is an attorney and a partner in a nonprofit company, which they have, that support their charitable efforts, including the Make a Difference Engineering anyway. So Make a Difference Engineering has been around for a long time, since the 70s. I think if you read in the fundraiser, you'll see that. And a lot of his senior design classes in mechanical engineering have supported MADE, which is the acronym it goes by, Make a Difference Engineering. And they've benefited many worthy causes in Tulsa and surrounding areas. So Professor Henshaw has been publishing articles on inventions which support those who have disabilities. And the earliest one I found, John, I found a publication back in 1993 of that work. And I'm sure you were working on it even before that. But he has been recognized by the University of Tulsa with awards for Outstanding Teacher of the Year and Outstanding Turk Mentor. Turk stands for Tulsa Undergraduate Research Challenge, which is a great program that TU has. The College of Engineering and Natural Sciences inducted him into their Hall of Fame a number of years ago. And the student athletes have recognized him as a most valuable professor. Please give a warm sunrise welcome to John Henshaw. John?
Thank you, Bill. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. I was having a little technical difficulties this morning. Hopefully when I share my screen, that will work okay. Thank you very much, Bill, for that great introduction. Most of that stuff was true. And I'm really pleased to be here with you guys this morning, even though it is quite early for me, but that's okay. I'm glad to be here, and I'm certainly glad to be talking about one of my very favorite subjects, which is Made at TU. So I think let me just mention a few things that Bill touched on. I've been at TU since 1990. I've been a professor at TU for a little over 30 years now. Long enough to have seen an ever-growing list of the children of former students in my classroom. The first time that happened was really scary, and now it's like no big deal because it happens so often. But actually, that's great to think that my former students would want to send their children to come to TU and be my students. So I've been at TU a long time. I'm a Tulsa native. I went to Edison High School. My father worked at the University of Tulsa for many years until he retired about 20 years ago. And we feel very much a part of this community. As Bill mentioned, my wife is an attorney with Gable Gottwalls. And we have 3 daughters that live in various parts of the country and 5 grandkids. So that's a little bit about me. Probably more than you wanted to know. So now what I think I'll do is just go and share my screen and see if I can run through some slides and tell you a little bit about Made at TU. All right. Can everybody see that? Great. Okay. So far, so good. All right. So Made at TU, Make a Difference Engineering at University of Tulsa. As Bill mentioned, it's been around for a long time. The name, however, is relatively young. The name Made at TU was bestowed upon us by my former dean, Steve Belovich, who passed away, I believe, in 2012. And several years before that, he came up with the name Make a Difference Engineering, or Made at TU. And the name has really been, it's a marketing thing, right? And the name has been very successful for us. Our logo down here in the lower left corner was created for us by another wonderful organization at TU called Third Floor Design. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Third Floor Design. Bill, this Third Floor Design would be a great speaker for you guys someday. They do graphic design work for customers who can't afford to hire a graphic designer, such as Made at TU. So Teresa Valero is a professor of art at TU, and she has run Third Floor Design for over 25 years. And they designed our logo probably close to 10 years ago. So I'm going to talk about three things today. I'm going to talk about what is Made at TU. I'm going to describe some projects that we're really proud of, and then I'll save some time at the end for questions. All right, so Made at TU, Make a Difference Engineering at the University of Tulsa. Our mission is to design, it's very simple, is to design, build, and deliver projects for persons with special needs. And that's what we do. And these make wonderful student projects. Designing and building devices for persons with special needs make wonderful student projects. It's really just a win-win situation. We hope it's a win for our customers, the persons that we design these projects for, but it's definitely a win for TU students. Our students are educated in ways through TU that they really might not be otherwise during their college years. They gain real world project experience at a very, very young age. They work with non-technically trained customers and caregivers, people who aren't engineers, and they learn about the world of special needs. They learn, and this is particularly important, I think, for engineering students. They learn about people on the autism spectrum, or with spina bifida, or cerebral palsy, or problems with sensory problems, blindness and deafness, and just the entire spectrum of special needs. And then last and very important, they gain the indescribable good feeling that goes along with creating a device that improves someone's life. My favorite days at Made at TU are the days when we deliver a project to a customer, and my students get to see somebody use a device that they created that wouldn't have existed without them, and that makes that person's life better. And there's no better feeling than that. Made at TU is both a class and a club, and a lot of our students are even a little confused about this, but when they first get involved. The MADE class is a hands-on, project-oriented class, and it's open to any TU student, including freshmen, regardless of your major. We have about 60 students that are enrolled in the class this semester, which for TU is a really big class. Most, but not all of those students are engineers. I have a couple of music majors. We often have speech pathology majors. But really, we're open to anybody. I tell students all the time, the only prerequisite to being in the Made at TU class is the desire to help persons with special needs. You just keep it real simple that way. If you have that desire, we will find something we will find a way for you to contribute. And I think we're actually better to the extent that we have non-engineers involved. The word engineering is in our name, and a lot of times I think that is a little bit of a barrier to non-engineering students. They're afraid that they're going to get the in over their head in terms of calculating the volume of a sphere, if I can harken back to our joke earlier this morning. But there's all kinds of work that can be done by non-engineers in Made at TU. As I mentioned, Made at TU is also a club. It's run by students. We have student officers, and the club meets simultaneously with the class. It's a little bit crazy. When during a normal semester, when we're all on campus, and I'm walking around the building on Friday afternoon when the club and the class meet, talking to all the different students who are working on the project, I frequently don't know if the students I'm talking to are in the class or in the club, or both. There's a little bit of chaos that goes on with that, but it works out fine. The way the class works is you have to take the class 3 times in order to get credit. We call it a 3-by-1 class. So each time you take it, I don't know if you guys remember back to your college days when you were taking classes and getting credits and so forth, but the MADE class is a 1-hour class. And if you take it 3 times, 3 times 1 equals 3, and then it counts as an elective towards your graduation. So if you take it once and don't like it, you never have to take it again, but it won't help you graduate. And if you're not sure if you like it, you can just join the club. And then if you get hooked on it, then you can start taking the class. We have many students who come in as freshmen and take the class 8 times in a row until they graduate, even though they can only get credit for it 3 times. And by the way, it is the class and the club are a tremendous recruiting tool for TU. We have prospective students that come in, they visit the class, they talk to the students who are building the projects, and they get sold on TU, which is great in lots of ways. Anyway, the main clubs run by students meet simultaneously with the class, and they hold social events outside of class time. They typically will have an event at homecoming. I'm not sure how that's going to work out this year, and various other social events. This year, they're going to have a MAID mental health day, and we're trying to get permission to hold that event on campus outside. The idea is just to get out and have fun and sort of de-stress a little bit from all the stuff that we're going on through with the pandemic and so forth. All right, this is a flyer that we sometimes use to attract new members. Some of these projects that you see on here, I will talk about in more detail as we go along. I think just about everything on here I've covered one way or another so far, but you'll see these projects again. Who do we do our projects for? Made It TU has completed dozens and dozens of projects over the years. By far, our oldest and best customer is the Little Lighthouse School in Tulsa. I'm sure most of you are familiar with Little Lighthouse School. It's a wonderful school for special needs children up to the age of 6. So we do lots and lots of projects for really little folks. But that's not all we do. We also work for Kendall Whittier Elementary. Kendall Whittier has a relatively large special needs program. They don't have a lot of stuff for their kids. And so we've only been working with Kendall Whittier now for 4 or 5 years, but it has been a great school to work with. Their special needs instructor, Jennifer Griffin, has been a great customer for us. She really likes working with us, and I think it's been a mutually beneficial relationship. We also work with an organization that some of you may be familiar with called the Center for Individuals with Physical Challenges, or just the Center. I'll show you a project in just a minute that we did for the Center a few years back. We're going to do another project for the Center this year. It's just getting started. And we also do work for lots of individual families in Tulsa and elsewhere. People hear about us through, for example, presentations like this or something in the media, and they'll contact us and say, I've got a child that has this and such issue, and do you think you guys could help my child? And most of the time we're able to do something. Okay, so I mentioned before we did a project recently for the Center, and this project was finished about 3 years ago, I think. We call it the Swift Lift. Sometimes my students come up with great names for projects, other times not so great, but I like this name. The Center came to us and said they were looking for a device that would enable someone who is using a wheelchair to be able to be lifted to a standing position, and then to be able to walk along and essentially relearn how to walk. Okay, and so this was the first customer for the Swift Lift. I forget this gentleman's name. He's a relatively young man, was in a car accident and had a spinal injury, was confined to a wheelchair, but was relearning how to walk. Okay, and so the Swift Lift was really what he needed. Now, you can buy a product like this. The Center said, we've looked into this. You can buy a product, but it's like $10,000 or $15,000. And so they wanted to know if the Made It TU could help them with something that was a little cheaper than that. And cost comes into almost every project we work on. You don't have to work on projects for persons with disabilities for very long before you realize that cost is a huge barrier to a lot of these. And the issue is that the markets for these products are so small. There just isn't a need for millions of devices like the Swift Lift that out in the community. It's more in nationwide, it's probably more in the hundreds range, right? So a for-profit company has a great deal of difficulty making profit on products like this, which they have to do to stay in business, right? And so the costs end up being really high because you don't get the economies of scale that you would for a product that you might see on the shelf at Walmart, let's say. So that's where Made It To You comes in. So our students designed and built the Swift Lift, and here you see our first customer he's relearning how to walk. He's walking down the hallway. This thing is on wheels. He's walking down the hallway. You can't see it, but there's a mirror in front so that he can, and he's looking down at his feet. He's looking down at the mirror so he can see his feet. He has to be able to see his legs in order to kind of will them to follow the path that they're supposed to follow when you walk, because he's relearning how to walk. And this guy who were there this day, he walked down the hallway about 30 yards. It took him quite a while. They turned him around and he walked back. And by the time he got back to the other end of the hall, he was absolutely drenched in sweat from the exertion of trying to relearn how to walk. So this was a really great project, and it's had several customers at the center. And as I said, the center has now come back to us. We've done several projects for them, and we're going to do another one starting up shortly. On the right here, this is the team that worked on the project. You see these two women in the front. These are center employees, and then in the back, these are all the TU students back here. And I want to point out, this was really a remarkable team of students. I want to point out there are two international students right here and right here. And we, Made It To You loves the international students because, and I've had numerous international students tell me that a revelation of working with Made It To You is learning how persons with special needs are treated in the United States and how that might differ from the way they're treated in their home countries. And so they take back that knowledge that these customers that we're working with, whether it's children or adults or whoever it might be, are people just like everybody else. And they're just trying to live the best life they can. And I think that's a really, really important message that our students, that our international students take back to wherever it is that they're from. All right, this is, we've built more of this little thing, this little device than any other project we've ever worked on. We call this the Sit and Scoot. We've built dozens of these. It's a little inexpensive wheelchair for very, very young children. You think about little kids that need to use a wheelchair. Once again, there are products on the market that are quite expensive. And you know, if you've ever had small kids, you know, in another year, this guy's going to be way too big for this thing. So you spend a whole lot of money on a wheelchair for your little guy, and then a year later they can't use it anymore because they've outgrown it. So what is needed is a really inexpensive device that works. And we've been through 3 or 4 generations of these products. They're very inexpensive. They're very well engineered, if I do say so myself. And one thing they do that you might not think about is, you think about an adult in a wheelchair. An adult in a wheelchair that goes to a cocktail party, let's say, is looking up at everybody. A little kid like this who's in a wheelchair is looking down at his friends who are crawling around and playing on the floor. So this wheelchair brings the kids down to the level of their friends so they can play, they can scoot around the floor and play with their friends and get the social interaction that they need and the mobility that they need to develop, which is what we're after. As I mentioned, these are low cost. We give away all our projects, but we can build one of these little wheelchairs for well under $100. It's a slide we built. We call this the Rainbow Rush. It's a frictionless slide. A lot of what we do for places like the Little Lighthouse and Kendall Whittier, at one level they look like toys, but at another level they're a rehab device. One of the things that I've learned about working with special needs kids is you want to do everything you can to stimulate their senses. Little kids, typical little kids that don't have special needs, pretty much spend their early years just absorbing visual stimuli and through their ears and through their fingertips. They're just absorbing stimuli as fast as they can, and that's how they develop. And special needs kids, depending on their situation, don't get that as fast, so they don't develop as quickly. So a device like the Rainbow Rush, the kids love this. They line up to play on it, and they slide down it. They see the different colors, they see the different shapes, they feel the different textures, and they have a great time while they're doing it. This is a really, really well designed and well built project. All these rollers on here are custom built. It's light enough that the therapist, the little lighthouse, one person can move it around and store it when it's not being used and so forth. So I'm really proud of the engineering that went into this project. This is a musical project. We like doing musical projects. I don't know how many of you are familiar with a musical instrument called the melodica. I'm not a super musical guy myself, but I saw one of my students playing one of these things one day, and I said, "What's that?" He said, "It's a melodica." And basically, this is what it looks like when it's modified. When you buy one off the shelf on Amazon for $40, basically it looks like a little keyboard. It's got maybe 40 keys along here. So you play it like a piano, and the way it makes sound is there's a tube. You see this plastic tube here. Normally this plastic tube would go into your mouth. You blow into the plastic tube, and then you play the keys, and it makes a noise that sounds a little bit like a harmonica. So you play it like a piano, it sounds like a harmonica. So we wanted to adapt one of these for little kids with special needs. And so the first thing we did was the students, my musically inclined students said, well, we can replace the 40 keys with just 6 keys and make it easier for kids that are still learning to coordinate their hands and so forth to play this thing. And we'll replace the plastic tube that goes in your mouth, which is not very sanitary when you're looking in a school setting. We'll replace that with a bellows, which you can't see, which is down on the floor. And the bellows inflates this balloon here. And so you push on the bellows, you inflate the balloon, and then you play the keys. And as you play the keys, the balloon gets smaller. And law of unintended consequences, when we first built this, the kids were fascinated with the balloon. They liked the music part, but they were just absolutely fascinated with that balloon. And this has turned into a very successful project. We've built several of these at the Little Lighthouse, several with some varying designs. All right, so I'm going to show you a video now. I'm not sure if Bill's ever seen this, but this was a video of a project that we did for the children of a TU employee named Dr. Mandy Moore. Dr. Moore runs our Student Success Center, and she has 2 kids with special needs, and we did a project for her kids last spring that was very successful, and we had the very great good fortune that Dr. Moore's husband is a videographer. And so he put together a video on the project that was far better than what we normally do when we just have a bunch of students standing around with their iPhone. And the video is only a couple of minutes long, so I'm going to show that to you guys here.
My name is Darren and I'm 6. Hello, I am Lydia and I am 8 years old. I like to pet my dog. I like to draw. And clear the television. I think it was really hard to balance on my other bike without my little prosthetic thingy. It was hard to ride a bike before. My favorite thing about meeting with the students, they teach me stuff about the bike. Like they teach me how to go, stop.
What was your favorite part of working with the students?
I do the bike because it's fun. I like going down there.
Why?
Because it's much more fun, so fun though. I had trouble balancing. Like, but boom, like in one day I can just go racing.
Oh, you got it. Good job, you're doing it.
Thank you to our students who work on the bike. To all the TU students that helped me ride my bike and even made it, I would like to say thank you. Because of you, I can ride a bike. Megan!
So I've watched that video dozens and dozens of times, and it never fails to bring a tear to my eye. Really a great project. All right, so I'm just about done here. So there are a lot of challenges when we work on these projects. The safety of our customers is paramount. You can imagine the little prosthetic devices we built for those bikes. They did a lot of testing with those kids to make sure that they were going to be safe when they went over bumps and hit potholes and things like that. Delivering the project is the very hardest part. And this is one of the biggest lessons our students learn. It's that last 10%. While the project is still sitting inside the lab at TU, everything is great. Everything is safe. No one's gotten hurt or anything like that. It's that last 10%. And about the only rule that the MAID class has is that if you're in the MAID class, you have to be on a team at least once that delivers a project during your 3 semesters in the class. So that's our only real rule, because we want to emphasize this delivery aspect. Communication is key, as you might imagine, working on a team, working with customers. We encourage our students to try stuff. We encourage them to fail early and fail often. And this, of course, is not the message of a traditional academic course. You know, when you're doing a math class, you're not encouraged to fail early and fail often. And that's fine, and that's, you know, that I think that's appropriate. But in this situation, in this realm, we learn by failing early and failing often, and failing forward, I guess, is another phrase that gets used. The customer rules. All of our work is driven by customers and what they want and need. Here's a picture of the first Melodica team from a couple summers ago. This was another project they didn't talk about, a little electric battery-powered car for special needs kids that works either with a joystick or with just a go button and has a wireless remote override. So it's a match made in heaven, designing and building devices for persons with special needs. It matches great educational opportunities and the opportunity to change the lives of those less fortunate. There really is a tremendous need for this. I talked about our customers, schools, rehab centers, individual families. And once you get started, what we have found is that the customers just keep on coming. It's fun, it's educational, it makes the world a better place. And that is it. Would be more than happy with the time we have left to answer any questions that anybody might have. So I think
we do have some questions in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, so one is, has MAID patented any of its creations?
We have looked at, and Bill knows this, we've looked at patenting a number of different projects. I don't think we ever have. There's probably a number of devices that could have been, but for whatever reason, it never happened. A lot of what we do, like for example, the Swift Lift, there are plenty of devices. There's no real intellectual property. There's plenty of devices that do what the Swift Lift will do. Ours just does it cheaper. And yeah, there's, and I know there's several products right now that we're looking at possibly dealing with some intellectual property issues, but I don't think it's happened yet.
Okay. Is the Swift Lift available for other people with the same needs? Did you guys just make one?
We'd have to build you another one. I mean, we get asked that all the time, and we hear anecdotally from the Little Lighthouse, though. The Little Lighthouse will have a visitor that comes in and they'll see something that the TU kids built, and they'll say, well, where can I get one of those? And the folks at Little Lighthouse will say, well, you know, that one you're looking at there, that's the only one in the whole world. You know, if you want another one, you'll have to go to TU. And we've looked at we did actually spin off a little company to try to commercialize some of these things, like the Sit and Scoot. And it just hasn't gotten anywhere, mostly because I don't have the time to make it go. I have a day job, unfortunately, and it keeps me really, really busy. I haven't given up hope on that yet. What I really need are a few students that want to give it a go after they graduate and really, you know, some of you guys, I'm sure, are entrepreneurs, and you know what kind of a commitment that takes. One of the things I learned about being an entrepreneur is it's not really a part-time thing. You have to really dive in to the deep end of the pool to make it work.
So there's a question, and I think you alluded to a little bit of this, but if you want to go into more detail, describe the process used when conceptualizing new projects. Do you oversee the decisions? And then I'm going to actually tag on to that is the next one is what supervision do the teams receive?
Yeah,
so
so
it kind of all goes together.
So I teach the MAID class, and I'm the faculty advisor to the MAID club. And my job is to really just keep the students from driving off the cliff, to keep them from doing really dumb things, spending money in dumb ways. Students will often come to me and say, "Oh, we're ready to go. You know, we want to buy this, we want to buy this, we want to buy that, so we can build our project." And I'll say, "Let's back up a second and let's make sure that we're spending this money wisely. That we're not going to buy this and then realize that, oh my gosh, I bought the wrong thing." And that's where the engineering process comes in. So students start off with a customer, right? And so the customer might be a therapist at a little lighthouse who comes to us and says, "We need a device to help kids with these particular special needs. And this is what this is the need we're trying to fulfill." And then the students will go off and brainstorm and try to come up with ways to fulfill those needs. And we encourage them to develop lots of different concepts, not just to run away with the first idea that they come up with. And then once they've done that, we'll look at the various concepts, and we have ways of selecting the one that we feel has the most chance to be successful. And then the students will start into the prototyping process from there. And we do, a lot of times we'll build scale models. Our students love to do things on 3D printers, so they'll build little scale models on the 3D printer, or they'll build a cardboard scale model, show it to the customer and say, "Is this what you had in mind?" A lot of times the customers, they love to hold things in their hands and look at say a quarter scale model of a device. And then from there, we'll scale up to a full size device. And from there, we will do some preliminary tests with the kids and realize, oh my gosh, that thing works pretty well, but there's this one aspect of it that's really not very safe. So then it's back to the drawing board to try to refine things and make it safer. And then eventually, of course, we deliver it. And then a lot of times after that, what'll happen is the kids break it. And kids are hard on stuff. They're the greatest product testers in the world. And so I'm very grateful that I have a group of students that is dedicated just to repairing old devices that we've built that have been broken by the students or by our customers in some way. And because a lot of engineers don't want to do that. A lot of engineers want to start with their own project with a clean sheet. But it's important that we re-engineer and redesign the devices that have broken, and that's how they become better over time. I hope that answered those various questions that you had in there.
I think so. Martha says, "This is simply amazing. Wish they had offered something like this when I was in college. I might be an engineer now. How does someone get in touch with MAID to inquire about how you can help with a need? What is the cost to people or organization who you design for?"
Well, thank you for those kind words. And we do find that it really is an attractor for students that think they might have a STEM bent to them, and this really pushes them over the edge and gets them to come to engineering school at TU. So the way you get in touch with someone at TU is just to contact me and say, I've got a cousin, or I've got a friend, or somebody that has a special need, and do you think you guys might be able to help them? This happens all the time. I'm going to give you the standard disclaimer that I give all my students when you contact me. So if you contact me and I don't get back with you right away, bug me. I get entirely too much email. I currently have 36,000 unopened email messages in my inbox, and which for a college professor, I have a colleague who has over 100,000, by the way. So, so just contact me, and we want to work with you, and we will. And what is the cost? So we don't charge our customers. So TU raises funds for MAID at TU, and frankly, it's been a pretty easy thing for us to raise funds for. And My students don't have to do a bake sale or a car wash to raise money to build these devices. They don't cost us very much. And the reason for that is because the engineering time is free. The students don't get paid for doing this work, right? So all we have to do is buy hardware and materials to build these projects, and that's a small percentage of prototyping cost, generally speaking. So we don't charge our customers for the devices we build. Do business students or other majors participate in MADE? Gosh, we hope so, because we're not always the greatest at making these business decisions. We love it when I mentioned this earlier. One of my goals for MADE at TU is for every student at TU to think, hey, that's something I can do. They need students with my expertise. They need students who are interested in the kinds of things that I'm interested in. So absolutely, yes.
Thank you very, very much for that presentation. That was so interesting. And I love the fail often and fail early. I think that's a great concept for creative people, because that's what you do when you're creative. So thank you for your time this morning. And as a thank you, we used to give coffee cups to our speakers, and it's kind of hard to do on Zoom. So we're making a donation to Rotary International for the Polio Fund in your name. So thank you very much. We appreciate your time this morning. Next week, we're going to have Brian Day.
Yeah, no, it's been a real pleasure being with you guys.
Good, thank you. Next week, our speaker is Brian Day. He's the CEO of 12 and 12. And if you're not familiar with that organization, you're really going to enjoy his presentation. I toured that facility as part of some volunteer work I was doing with United Way, and it's really an amazing place. And he's very passionate about his work. And I will close with something that someone sent me. If you all have things that you would like me to close with, just send them to me, because I can't always come up with them. But I think Steve Kerr sent me this one by James Garfield. I never met a ragged boy in the street without feeling that I may owe him a salute, for I know not what possibilities may be buttoned up under his coat. So thank you all very much for joining this morning. And I'm off to Colorado, and I will see you next Wednesday.